Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to another video of Salesforce Makes Sense. This is Himanshu and we are continuing our Lightning Web Components masterclass. In the last tutorial, we talked and we started understanding what arrays are in JavaScript, and in this tutorial we'll talk a bit more and we'll extend our discussions on arrays. Alright, so we talked about how to add elements in the front or in the back, how to remove it from the front or from in the back, how to actually calculate the length or the size of your array, and how to find a specific item in your array, right? What we are going to try out now is a sample, not really sample, but maybe a simple question, more like a to-do list creator. Okay, so I am on the programmist compiler already, and if you are someone who already knows a bit of JavaScript, go ahead and give it a try and try out different methods that okay, on your own, or else let's try to do this together. So what we want to do is we want to create a to-do list, correct? So this to-do list will basically be a set of items that you want to do, correct? Maybe in today's time, or maybe in your weekend time, or maybe in 7 days, or maybe in a month's time. But yeah, to-do list is a set of kind of things or goals or plans or action items that you have for yourself that you need to conquer, right? So I am going to go ahead and say let my to-do list be an array. Alright, because it is going to be a set of things or maybe a collection of things. What I can do is I can start pushing all that I need to do, right? So how do I do that? I say push to add a element here. So I'll say record JavaScript tutorials. That's my first item that I need to do. Let's see, what do I need to do next? I need to actually get groceries, right? That is something that can be added. What do I need to do next? I need to push myself, or rather I need to push it into the array to release quiz questions. Alright, maybe these are the three items that I need to do, and these are my to-do list items. So I've just pushed each of these elements, correct? And now if I were to show you, let's not put the console yet, but try to run it and see if this compiles fine. Okay, the code execution is successful. Now what I want to do is I want to see what is my to-do list. How do I do that? I say my to-do list, I just put it in a console log. So that's more like to check the output. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and say run. So what I've really done is I have these action items to be done, but what I've done is I have actually completed one of these, right? So what I can do is I can actually use my method. So if I go back to our tutorials, we can actually add items or remove items using certain functions: the push function, the pop function, the unshift function, and the shift function, right? So depending on what you want to move out, you have to actually choose the right function. And this is relevant when you're actually doing actual use cases, right? You'd want to check whether you want to remove the element that's starting or that's in the end, right? So you can go ahead and say pop. If you want to get rid of, okay, I have not printed it again, so I'll just get rid of this print here, and I'm going to put it down below. And as soon as I say pop and I say my to-do list to be debug logged, it tells me that I have done this particular action item because that's the last element, and pop is used to remove the last element of my array, right? What if I had already done the JavaScript tutorials recording? I would have wanted to remove the first element, not the third element, right? In that case, I would be using the shift function, correct? I'd be using the shift function. All right, so let's say I'm done with my last work, the last item, and I'm also done with my first item. All right, so I'm going to say shift, and that's going to shift my first element and move it out of the index or the array, right? So the only thing left for me to do is get groceries. All right, however, I just realized I have a priority item that I need to work on, right? So there's a priority item that has just come up and I need to push that. Now I don't want to push it because it's a priority item, so I'll go ahead and use the unshift function because that will give it the priority and add it in the first index of my array, correct? So what is a priority item? Let's say I need to what do you call it? Do I have any priority items as of today? Let's say drop my wife to the event. Maybe that could be the to-do list that I need to do. So if I go ahead and say run now and I try to print my to-do list, I'm going to say run, and you see dropping my wife to the event becomes the first action that I need to take in the list of actions that I want to do, and these are nothing but items in an array. All right, it started off with an empty array. We pushed some items, we popped out something, we shifted something, we unshifted something, and now I can conclude, okay, what is the total item list that I need to do? I can actually just quickly check, okay, how many things do I need to do today? I can just take a look at the length, and it will tell me that you have 2 items that you need to do. All right, great. I think that's good enough discussion on a to-do list creator. I hope you were able to understand how to use the functions, these functions that you have, and where to use them and when can it be handy. Ideally, mostly you'll be using the push function the most, because the push function and the length function, you'll be using that a lot. Okay, now what I want you to do is, I want you to pause the video right here, and I have 5 very straightforward, very simple use cases. I want you to try them out on your own browser and let me know in the comments, either by putting the entire solution that you wrote, or just tell me that, you know, I was able to solve all the 5. Okay, so then in the real manner, arrays will make sense. Okay, and I'll be sure that, okay, it makes sense to you. So I have these 5 questions wherein you need to create an array of your 5 favorite movies, and then try to add a new movie and remove the first movie. Okay, you need to write a function that takes an array of numbers. You don't have to write a function yet, you can just use the compiler, that the way we are doing it. Okay, so it takes an array of numbers and returns a new array with only even numbers. So let's say you can start by creating an array that has a set of numbers. So 1, 3, 5, 6, you know, you can just start off like that. Don't have to, you know, completely stick to the question, but try to basically write the code that returns you only even numbers. Okay, I want you to create an array of all the product prices, and I want you to use this reduce method to calculate the total price. Okay, what's the total price of everything that you bought? I want you to actually try sorting an array. Okay, you have a list of grades or numbers. Try to see what is the highest grade and what is the lowest grade by sorting your array. Just see if you can do that. All right, and I also want you to have an array wherein you are listing all the fruits that you like, and try to find the first fruit that starts with the letter M. All right, give these a try. You might not be able to do it in one shot. You might need help from the internet. Take that help, but do attempt the question and try to solve it. Okay, try to get the output. All right, once you have done that, do comment on the video that, you know, yeah, I was able to do it. All right, on that note, for those of you who are progressing on the video and have actually tried it out or not tried it out, that's okay. We'll talk a bit more about some other array methods that we have and a bit more discussion around arrays. Okay, so I talked about defining the arrays using the square bracket annotation. However, there is one more way to do it. You can actually say my array to declare, if this is the variable name, you can actually say equal to new array, and this is how you can actually declare an array. Okay, if I were to try printing it out for you, let's see what does this return. It returns an empty array, meaning it has been declared, it has been given space in the heap memory, but it does not contain anything, that's why empty. All right, what is the length? Let's quickly check. What would be the length? Tell me. It would be 0 because there's nothing inside. Okay, and everything still stays the same. You can actually access all the elements and you can try doing it. Okay, however, the new annotation is not used much. Okay, in Apex we do use the new annotation to create an instance, right? You can consider same concept here. Okay, but this new instance is not really used much. You can actually just go ahead and do this short code, right? So it's easy to do. All right, now how do you update an element on a specific index? So let's say you have this array and you have, let's say, Ravi, you have Suresh, and let's say you have Navneet, right? These are the, I think I remember these names because I have you know, responded back to a lot of comments these guys have made on the channel. So I'm just recalling these names. So yeah, let's say this is the array that I have to declare, and I can actually rename them top subscribers, right? Let's give that name. All right, so let's put that name, and this is an array with 3 elements. Now let's say I want to actually replace Navneet with someone who is actually now performing well and giving me a lot of questions to answer. Okay, so what can I do? How can I replace this particular value directly? So if you were standing at this point, you would know that this is the 0th index, 1st index, and the 2nd index, right? What you can do is you can take the variable and you can use the indexing and you can simply say that this will now be, I don't know, let me see, it could be Hania. Alright, so I am going to replace this value here with Hania, meaning the second index of this particular array is going to be replaced with this particular word right here. And if I were to print my variable, what would happen? Let's take a look. If I try to print it and I say run, you see Ravi, Suresh stay intact, but third value, that is Navneet, which is the second index, has been replaced. And that's how you can replace a specific value from your array. All right. The third thing I wanted to discuss is, let's say you have a requirement wherein you need to actually modify your entire array elements. Meaning, let's say you have a scenario where you have a set of prices. Okay. Let's say 25, 625 and 800. Okay, these are the three prices of the three products that you have. Now you need to apply GST on it. Basically, you need to apply tax on it. So tax would be applied to each one of the elements, right? How do you do that in one shot? Basically, you can use a function called the map function. All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to say top subscribers. Just be with me here. Top subscribers dot map. I'm trying to map out what I need to do. Correct? So when I use the map function, I need to tell the system what do you want to do for each value that you have in the system. Okay. Before that, I'm going to just print it out for you. The top, I mean like products without taxation. All right. And then I'm going to print it out for you with before taxation. This is the value. And I want to actually map a 5% tax, let's say. Okay, so basically, let's say I want to, put a 5% or a 10% tax to all the elements that I have here. How do I do that? I use the map function and I say that for every product that I have, multiply the value by 0.5. Okay, not 0.5. Let's say if I want to do like more like a 10%, so it would be 1.1. So instead of 1 rupee, it would be 1.1, 10%, right? So the price should be increased by 1.1 multiplied by 1.1. That will give me a 10% increase. Correct? So what am I saying here? If you read this line, the products without taxation should be mapped in, just try to see the English that I'm speaking. Okay. The products without taxation should be mapped in such a way so that each product that I have is multiplied by 1.1 and is given the final value. And now if I try to print this out, and before printing, I want to say this will be with taxation. So what I can do is I can also declare one more variable, right? And I can assign this final value to this variable. I can do that. Okay. So if you notice, 25 became 27.5, 625 also got incremented, and 800 also got incremented. All right. So this is how you can actually transform every element that you have in your array. Cool. Awesome. So that is how you can actually transform every element in your array using the map function. So wherever you see that you have a requirement that I need to modify or transform my entire collection, can I use the map function? Let's give it a try. Okay. That's how you should think. The next thing is, what if you want to filter your arrays? Meaning you have a set of elements and you want to actually filter out certain set of certain set of elements from your array. So you can actually do that by using the filter function. The name itself is very clear. Okay. So what I can do is I can simply say let filtered products be products with taxation, and I'm going to use the method that I have. So I'm going to say dot filter. And again, when I say filter, I need to say how do I need to filter. So for each product that I have, I use this concept and I say product value should be greater than, let's say, 600. Okay. So I only want to filter out all the elements where the price of the product, or basically the value of the element that is here, is greater than 600. So you see this mapping, you declare a variable and you're saying that it should only assign the value if this condition is meeting for that particular item in the array, and you're filtering it out. So every product that is listed here, if is greater than 600, will be filtered out and stored in this particular filtered products array. Makes sense? Is it a bit too confusing? If it is, try, going back 10 minutes, start listening to the same tutorial one more time. Okay, try that out. If you are confused with this annotation, just think of it like whenever you're using a method here, for example, map or filter, you are giving this particular value a dummy instance variable. So this product essentially basically means that for each item that I have, loops, right? So basically for each item, which is called product, which will hold the value 25 first, 625 then, and then 800 next. For each value, it will say 25 is equal to 25 multiplied by 1.1, and store that value here. Then 625 multiplied by 1.1 and 800 multiplied by 1.1 for each value. Similarly, filter function, product, that is 25. So 25 will only be sent here if it is greater than 600. No, it is not. It will not be sent here. 625 it will only be sent if it is greater than 600. Okay, it is greater than. So these two values should pass. And if I say run here, you see these two values have actually reached the filter products. Make sense? So that's how you can actually filter out items based on conditions. So you use the filter function and you put your condition here. All right. Similarly, if you want to find something in your array, if you want to find something that satisfies the criteria, so instead of using a filter, you use the find function. What does that do? That gives you the first match or the first item that matches your condition. So for example, I say let first find which is greater than 600 is what I want to name my variable. Okay, and I'm going to use the same logic, but instead of the filter function, I'm going to use the find function. I'm going to say find any product that you have, okay, where the product is greater than 600. So it will go ahead into the array. It will see 25. Is that greater than 600? No. 625. Is it greater than? Yes. So it will go ahead and return this value. It will not continue its journey again. Similar to the filter and the map, because they work on the entire array, but find function works and gives you the result as soon as it finds the first item to show it to you. So if you notice now, you will see run, the final output shows 687.5. Even though 880 is bigger than 600, it does not continue. It gives you the first match. So wherever you have a requirement wherein you need to actually check something specific based on a criteria, you can actually use the find function. Okay, cool. There's one use case that I wanted you guys to do and figure out. This is the reduce function. I'm not going to explain that. Try it out and try to use the internet. It's okay, but I want you to understand how to calculate the total price if you have a list of prices in your array. All right, sorting also you can try and understand. The last thing I want to talk about is slicing and splicing your arrays. Okay, slice and splice. So what is slicing? Slicing is basically similar to how you say, I want a slice of this pizza, I want a slice of this particular cake. So you are actually extracting out a certain part of it, correct? Similar to that same concept, if you want a specific part of your array, you can slice it out. How do you do that? Let's go ahead and remove all of this stuff first. I'm going to say, let's have more values here. All right, I have an array which has a lot of values. Okay, I'll call it numbers only, and let's print it out. All right, if I go ahead and say run, this prints out all the values that I have. All right, now I want to actually slice. All right, I want to slice only these particular values out of it. How do I do that? I know the index where it starts and I know until when I need to go. If I'm able to do that, I can actually slice it out. So I'll say go ahead and slice, start with the first index until the fourth one. And if I run it here, it is going to give me 625, 800 and 900. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So it goes until the fourth one, it returns it till here. If I want to take 1103, I have to say 5 as the second parameter. All right, so start from here, take the slice from here until here. All right, did that make sense? Just a curious thought. What happens if I put -1 here and I say run? So you see, it gives an empty value. It is not able to slice it properly. What if I say 0 as the first value? And I say I need from 0 until the 5th. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Till here it gives you all the values. Alright, in between this, everything will be given to you. Alright, so this is how a slice would work. It will extract the slice from this particular index until this particular index -1 basically. Alright, now what is splice? Splice helps you override your entire array if you want to kind of, do a find and replace. That's one scenario where you can use splice, right? Now let's say this is the array that I have and I've actually sliced it here. Let's not slice it for now. And what am I going to do is I'm going to say numbers only dot splice. Alright, let's say I want to replace the value A, or let's say I want to add a value here. Okay, I want to add a value here that's called 850. So what is the index I want to add it at? 0, 1, 2. So I want to add it on the second index, and I don't want to replace anything, but I want to add 850 as a value. Okay, and I'm going to assign this, let spliced value is equal to numbers only dot splice. All right, so if I go ahead and try to log what is the numbers only after the splicing happens, we'll actually see the result. So if you notice, 850 has been added, right? It has to be added at the third index, right? 0, 1, 2. So I want it on the third index. So I'll just put it 3 here. So now it is 800 and then 850. However, I did not replace anything. So all the other elements are here, meaning that's the 0 that represents here. Do you want to remove anything? Yes. Then you can mention the index that you want to remove. If you don't want to remove anything, you can just put 0 here. Let's say I want to get rid of 900 and put 850 there. So I'll just go ahead and say remove one element and then add 850 there. So if you notice, on the third index, 850 has been added on the 0, 1, 2, 3, and 900 has been removed, and then this value has been added. Okay. Tell me what would happen if I wanted to, let's remove this entire thing, and let's say the end result I wanted is basically I would like 5, 6 here, and I would like 899 here, and I want to get rid of 1103. Tell me, how would you splice this? How would you use the splice function only to reach this? Okay, so spliced value is equal to numbers only dot splice. The first thing you would want to do is you would want to actually add 899 here. So that is basically on the third index, 0, 1, 2, 3. I don't want to remove anything, but I want to just add something, and that something is 899. Okay, so far so good. Let's try to print it. Awesome. 800, 899, 900. Done till here. What's the next thing? I want to remove 1103. What will I do? I'm going to say spliced value is equal to numbers only dot splice. Now what I want to do, I want to actually remove, what is that value? 1103, correct? So I'm going to say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not 4 now. There is a value that's been added. So I want to take from here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth index, I want to remove one value and I don't want to add anything there for now. Okay, let's print it out again and say run. So you see 1103 has been removed from here. Awesome. So you see, I did not add anything, but what if I wanted to now? Let's see, what is my final ask? I want to 25, 625, 800, 899, 25, 625, 800, 899, 900, 4, and then I want to add 5 and 6 here. So what am I going? I'm going to do, I hope you already know, you are going to say spliced value, and I'll say numbers only dot splice. Now where do I want to add it? I want to add it at this index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth index I want to add something. I don't want to remove anything. And what is the value I want to add? 5, 6. Two values. I'll say 5, 6. And let's now print our final output. And that's our final result that we wanted to look at. Make sense? All right, I think that's all I wanted to cover. I know it has been a bit too much, but we are getting started. All right, these are just functions, and it is not like you will need to know every function. Himanshu, do I need to understand the syntax of everything? No, not needed. Go to online platforms, just type the method name and you will get the syntax there. Understand it, use it in your code, that's it. End of the story, end of the day, end of the story. At the end, you should be able to know what you're doing and how you need to do it. That's all. Okay, but good discussion. We actually talked a good amount of about how to use the new annotation which is not really used anymore, updating elements by using the find, filter, reduce. We talked about slice and splice, we talked about map and all of that stuff. Okay, and I have this give it a try section for a lot of videos. I want you guys to sit not just watching my tutorials but actually giving it a try yourself. Okay, these are pretty much straightforward ones. So if you have some time, like under 10 minutes after you are seeing this tutorial, pause the video again and now try it out and post the results in the comments that yeah, Himanshu, arrays make sense, I'm able to do it on my own. Whatever the use cases where I was able to solve it, let's move on to the next tutorial. Okay, so we'll try to build our confidence slowly and gradually. There are, again, one more thing, there are 10 different things or 100 different ways of doing something. You should know just one or two different ways which lets you go to the outcome. That's all. Okay, don't worry about is this the right way to do it or not, is this the wrong way to do it. There's no right or wrong. It's always it should take you to the path, it should take you to the end goal that you are wanting to reach. All right, so not in life, yeah, just in the programming languages. In life you'll always have to be right, you should not be taking shortcuts or wrong paths. But here there are n number of ways of doing things. I keep telling that there are n number of ways of doing things. You should just know what would suit best for your use case, your requirement. Okay, so for those of you who are interested, comment below all the functions that I've taught here and basically what does it really do. Just give me a one-liner. Okay, just give me that comment. All right, before closing this topic, I want to actually talk about how is this relevant for LWC, right? You might be thinking, Himanshu, you have talked about 45 minutes about just arrays. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to use it? So just for some context, LWC uses a lot of arrays. So if you know Apex, you already know how much do you use lists and sets and maps, correct? Same concept. In JavaScript or in LWC, you will use a lot of arrays. You'll actually use it for everything, pretty much everything. Okay, and what I've shown here is just for the understanding numbers and strings, right? But you'll be actually using it to store data from Salesforce objects. So it's going to be very fancy there. Okay, you will use it to show drop downs or lists in the UI. So for example, you have a pick list, right? It is nothing but a list of 6 or 7 values or 10, 15 values. Where would you store it? Array, right? You'd use it to iterate over the records in the UI. So let's say you have 25 countries that you are catering to. If you want to iterate over and find a specific country for a specific city combination and derive something out of it, you'll have to iterate over it. You have to loop over it. So you'll use arrays for looping also. All right, so good amount of use case will come up and a good amount of things you'll be doing with arrays. That's why it's important to build the basic, build the blocks, the foundation very carefully and very nicely. All right, great. That's all I wanted to talk about in this tutorial. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.